Okay, everyone, hello! And this is Shepard here with a little guide on Arch-Tempered Zorah. So, I have never quite seen an explosion of activity on the subreddit before as this guy here, except for maybe Behemoth. I think Arch-Tempered Behemoth had everybody throwing their hands up there and say, you know what, this is just impossible. But Zorah seems difficult, but doable, just slightly out of reach. So I had a chance to run this quest maybe around 7 to 8 times last night, and I think I've got a pretty good handle for it. I've done the normal Zorah quest quite a bit, and seeing this one, you do have to change up your strategy a little bit. So I'm just going to show off my skills and everything first before we hop in the quest. This quest actually has us doing a lot more normal damage to Zorah as we would usually. So we are going with a primarily offensive build in terms of being able to do damage to normal parts as opposed to just really focusing on those cannonballs. So we have the Devil Joe switch axe here. Doesn't have to be a switch axe. Hammer actually works really well, and honestly anything that has really strong stationary combos that's going to do a ton of damage at once, you're going to really prefer damage over mobility. Health regen is nice. Anything else you put on there is optional, although I always like to put on Affinity as my second augment. As for decorations, everything else, these two heavy artillery decos, whether you're doing it as a decoration or you're doing it as an armor piece because you don't have the decoration, that's fine, but I would say those 2 points are mandatory. Everything else is basically optional. I've, of course, really done a whole bunch of min-max efforts here to get as close to maximum critical boost, weakness exploit, top affinity as possible. Nice thing with the 4-piece Draken set is we're going to get unlimited sharpness on crits, and that Tacit gives us 1 point of power prolonger, which doesn't hurt on the switch axe. Okay, so first thing you're going to want to do, you can start taking some of your buffs here. You take that demon drug. I'm going to top up my life. We'll take this hitching post. And the strategy is a little bit different solo than it is for 4 players. 4 players leaves you a lot more room for mistakes and to get certain things done a little bit faster. Main difference is, though, is that we're actually doing a considerable amount of damage to these magma cores. So we have our fireproof mantle. If we get caught out by those magma blasts, shouldn't do too much damage to us. The annoying part is that getting hit enough times will actually cause you to get stunned. There wasn't really much room in this setup for me to fit stun resistance, although I wouldn't necessarily blame somebody for gemming it in if they had the room or didn't have other decos. Big thing to note is this hill. There are 2 magma cores you can attack with a hill on them, so especially something like a hammer that gets a really, really powerful sliding attack can actually do very well here. I'm going to waddle right into that one. Okay, so we mentioned those stalags. If there were a multiplayer match, you'd want some people to go up that hill and attack that bottom core. You do want to have at least one person, though, going up ahead to drop those 2 stalags on Zorah right now. Of course, breaking that first magma core is necessary to give you the maximum amount of maneuverability around Zorah. It takes out a little lava stream, which would otherwise make it so you could only go around, I think, his right side. Okay. Drop that. Drop that. We don't have too much time to do damage in here. We can get off maybe 2 or 3 combos. What's going to happen soon is there's going to be a large stalactite. Alright, I'm going to call it here. Again, if you had a group of 4, they would have hopefully already broken that bottom magma core and would already be on their way up here to help out. The line we're looking for is she's going to be saying he's charging up his power. If you can hit him at just the right time with the large stalactite, or stalagmite, I guess. I always get those things mixed up. Then that will flinch him and he won't do a little animation. It will save you a little bit of time. And you just have to be close, like in this general area. You see the Master's Touch is really doing the work, right? Because we barely even need to sharpen at this point. The armor sets are so powerful at this point in the game. Okay, so you can see he's shaking. We're going to drop this. They'll flinch him. And with any luck, he'll just continue to decide to start walking forward. At this point, we're going to move to the front of Zorah. We're going to get in position to drop some bombs, because now we're going to start getting ready for Nergigante. And again, if you had your team of 4, ideally all the other magma cores would be either broken or close to broken at this point, and they would be getting pretty close to being on their way to being able to help you out where you are right now. Okay, so you can drop your bombs right around here. Assuming you have everybody in position, they should be in the perfect place for when Nergigante shows up. He should run right into them. We can wait to just when the old hunter says his line, we can put our mantle on. Okay, so this is just a standard Nerg fight. No matter what you do, you can't clear him in this first spot anyways, so no pressure. Just know that you're going to have to take him out eventually. So he helps us out there. After this, it's just a standard fight. So, if you don't have a ton of experience fighting Nerg, his gimmick is that as you damage him, he gets scarred. Those scars turn into white spines. You hit those white spines, he trips. Usually takes a little bit more damage on his white spines, so from a damage perspective, they're worth hitting even if you didn't get the stun. If you take too long to break them, they turn black, and then they're really annoying because then you really can't break them very easily. Okay, so we did our part there. Zorah's going to change position. Nerg should land on this little shelf down here. If you wanted to make more large barrel bomb pluses, you probably could. If you wanted to try and bomb them right there. You don't have to worry about being that min-max. Okay, so Nerg is leaving. You might be tempted to try and climb up the head and hit the nose. Unfortunately, you can't. He'll throw you off. You won't be able to do it. Okay, got that extra thing there. So we can still climb up. We can get this extra magma core. In the next phase, you do get an opportunity to jump back onto Zorah if you want. And you can attack the magma core then. I think solo that might be a little too risky because you really need to prioritize using binders to flinch him. But with any luck, we should be able to at least smash this core in the middle, or at least get a lot of damage off. Okay, so now that we're up top, there are a number of cannons that are going to be available to us. There's a priority. In a team, you always want to have somebody manning each of the manned cannons. So you see a person there swinging their arms around. That's somebody who's going to be continually dropping cannons into there. So there's one right here. There's one all the way in the far end. And there's going to be some... There's going to be two actually on this boat. You can unsheath your weapon while you're falling to kind of slow down your... or speed up your recovery time. You want to grab this binder. We're not going to use it right away. But the goal is to cause Zorah to flinch every time he's charging up his magma breath. So you get about enough time to launch each of these cannons. Otherwise, he's going to go into a magma breath almost immediately. So if you want to be safe, if you're on the boat, you should probably make sure you're up to the forward part of the bow. All right, you see his breath? It's like gurgling. That's your cue. So if the Dragonator is not up, that means you have to work with the rest of your team. Make sure that somebody always has a one-shot binder. Otherwise, it is pretty fast and effective just to be down here launching out cannonballs. Especially this spot here will do the most damage in the game. If you have a fourth person, they're going to kind of be working on the two cannons in the middle. If they do get a chance to jump on Zorah, they can. When Zorah smashes his head down or puts his arm down, it's an opportunity to hop on the body. So if you have somebody who's really into some very advanced weapons or has some very advanced armor and armor skills, maybe have it be their job to hop onto Zorah's back. I usually like to fire the cannons off at 4 cannonballs. If you go for 5, rather than working on putting more cannonballs in, the guys end up kind of like waving you on, like encouraging you to shoot. So this kind of keeps maximum uptime with cannonballs getting loaded. Okay, so he's charging up energy again. So we've got our binder. All right, he's been restrained. So the barrier is not like super weak. If we stay down on this boat, there will probably be a time where he's actually going to get a fire breath off. The barrier can take, I think, at least 3 full blasts. So I may risk it and take 1 full shot to the barrier. I'm really okay with that. It's a resource to be used while we're working on getting as much damage off with these cannons as possible. There are more binders up top that we can use. What's going to happen most of the time, though, is even if you're doing a really great job with the cannons, the quest is going to come down to you getting off the second Dragonator anyway. So either just before the second Dragonator, with the second Dragonator, or just after the second Dragonator is how long the quest usually takes. Some people really get into like advanced cannon techniques. There's usually enough time between shots, depending on what your little buddy's doing, that you can either just carry it over anyways, especially at these two. Right. Okay, so it actually looks like our one-shot binder came back up. So we can actually stay down here a little bit longer. At least until these cannon piles run out. Okay, he's getting his hot breath up again. Oops, well, that's not good. Okay, that was almost a yikes. Okay, so we're actually out of cannons here. So we're going to try and exhaust this pile while we can. Okay, now we're going to head up top. Just press circle to go up with this wing drake. Again, if this were a multiplayer quest, you could probably still stay down on that ship down below as the 4th player and still do okay damage with those 2 players shooting off cannons. You don't necessarily have to move. You know, you could go up and kind of help work on some of the magma cores if you wanted, but oh god. Alright, there's a binder over here. I don't know if we'll get there in time. We might actually take this hit head on. Okay. Really not a big deal. Like I said, the barrier defense is a resource that we can use. But we'll be able to stop the next one because we have another binder. He might actually smash his head down fairly soon, and if that's the case, we can show off what it's like doing damage to him. Yeah, so this is his animation of putting his head down. I'll just show you what it looks like to do a little bit of damage to his front magma core. You want to break the nose. Okay, so this should look somewhat familiar if you've ever done the first Zorah quest. You have to hit his nose in order to advance the quest. At least in most cases, you can really wait it out. Okay, we're getting launched off. Hopefully we have enough time. I've made a terrible mistake. Again, remember, our barrier is a resource to be used. So as long as it's not broken, we can do stuff like this, take damage, as long as there's still going to be people around that haven't wasted ballista binders to be used when we need to interrupt Zorah. So don't feel bad. Unless you're in a situation where you've wasted all of your binders and suddenly he's going to blow you up. In which case, feel bad, because you'll lose. So you see we have about 1 minute until the Dragonator can be used again. That's pretty much the quest end. He's charging up energy. Very important that we get this one, because otherwise the quest will fail. Okay, so we actually finished this really quick. I think this might have actually been faster than a lot of my group clear times, only because of the multiplayer health scaling. We didn't even get to the second Dragonator. Of course, if you were in a group and there were some people that weren't necessarily doing the ideal thing, when the Dragonator comes up, that kind of saves the quest and makes it go a bit faster. Yeah, about 1830 is about the fastest I've ever seen the quest go. It's usually a quick clear time if you get that. Honestly, though, the slowest times are closer to like maybe 20 minutes and 30 seconds. So you're really just doing a whole bunch of stuff just to shave off a couple minutes. So in any case, you're going to want to get about 8 of these Zorah Magdaros tickets. So ideally, if you want to get all of the quest clears, you'll do it about 4 times. It's also a great source of hard armor spheres if you need them. So clearing the quest like that is also a good way of getting a whole bunch of hard armor spheres if you need them. Nice. Okay, so that's about it. If you like this content, please make sure to do all the normal stuff. Like, subscribe, comment on the video. Also, I do daily streams at twitch.tv/sdshepherd around 7 p.m. or so Eastern Standard Time. Play a lot of Monster Hunter, do some other variety games as well, and we always have a good time. So, hope to see you then. Hope you like this video. Until next time, though, it's Shepherd saying good luck, and have a good hunt.